Everyone has a different clock. Wait for your time. Good morning, family. Let me ask you something. How many times have you looked at someone else's life and thought, why not me? Why is their clock moving so fast while mine feels stuck in time? Listen, that's a dangerous game to play. Comparing your journey to someone else's is like comparing the sunrise to the sunset. Both are beautiful, but they happen at their own time. Here's the truth you need to hold on to today. Everyone's clock is different. Some people's hands start moving early, others take a little longer to wind up. That doesn't mean you're behind, and it doesn't mean you're failing. It just means your time is coming. Stop watching their clock, stay in your lane, and trust your pace. Listen, while one of the quickest ways to drain your joy is to get caught up in watching someone else's clock. You know what I'm talking about. You see their highlight reel on social media, their promotions, their perfect family photos, and you start feeling like you're falling behind. But let me tell you something, family, that ain't your clock. Life isn't a race. It's a journey. And the thing about journeys is that they're all different. Some people hit their milestones early, and some take longer to get there. But here's the kicker, it doesn't matter when they hit theirs because their clock has nothing to do with yours. Imagine being on a track, running your heart out, and instead of focusing on the finish line, you keep turning your head to see how fast the person next to you is going. What happens? You slow down. You lose focus. You might even trip. That's what happens when you're too busy watching the clock, you miss your own rhythm. Here's the human side of it. You don't know the full story behind someone else's success. That person you think has it all together, they might have struggled for years before their breakthrough. That family that looks picture perfect, they could be fighting battles you can't see. So while you're sitting there comparing, you're really looking at a curated moment, not the whole journey. Instead of watching their clock, let me tell you what to do. Watch your growth. Look at how far you've come. Maybe you're not where you want to be yet, but think about where you started. Celebrate that. Appreciate the grind, the small victories, and the lessons you've learned along the way. Stop letting someone else's timeline make you feel less than. You're not behind, you're on your own schedule. And when you focus on your lane, when you trust that your clock is moving exactly the way it's supposed to, that's when life starts to change. Because let me tell you, you've got a race to run. And it's one only you can win. Your delay isn't denial. Hold on. Your blessing is coming. Family, let me say this loud and clear. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't happen. So many of us confuse a delay with a denial. We start thinking, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe it's just not meant for me. But that's not the truth. Let me tell you what's really going on. Your delay is not a stop sign. It's a preparation period. I think about it like baking a cake. You wouldn't pull that cake out of the oven halfway through, would you? It would be raw, unready, and not the masterpiece it's meant to be. That's your life right now. The delay you're experiencing is God's way or the universe's way, however you see it, of saying, not yet, baby. It's not finished cooking. Now, here's the part we don't like, the waiting. Oh, we hate the waiting. We start looking around at everyone else pulling their cakes out of the oven, celebrating their wins, and we're stuck staring at ours like, what's taking so long? But what we don't realize is that the best things take time. That promotion, that relationship, that dream you're chasing, it's not about when you think you're ready. It's about when it's fully ready for you. Let me give you a real world example. You ever see somebody get something too soon? They get the job but don't have the skills to keep it. They get into a relationship but haven't healed from their past, so it falls apart. Timing matters, family. The delay isn't to punish you, it's to prepare you. And I'll tell you this from the heart, every delay I've ever experienced in my life, every closed door, every not yet ended up being the best thing that could have happened to me. Because what came after? Oh, it was so much better than what I thought I wanted in the moment. That's the human side of this thing. It's not easy, and I get it. The waiting feels lonely, frustrating, and sometimes even unfair. But what's coming is worth it. Work in the waiting, build while you wait, prepare for the blessing. Let me tell you something. Family, waiting doesn't mean doing nothing. And I know a lot of us have been told, just wait, it'll happen in time. And we think that means sitting back, kicking our feet up, and letting life pass us by while we hope for a miracle to mop in our lap. But I'm here to tell you that's not how it works. Waiting doesn't mean wasting. Now, I know it can feel like you're stuck, like you're spinning your wheels, like you've been chasing something, and it keeps slipping through your fingers. But I need you to understand this. You're not stuck, you're being prepared. While you're waiting for the doors to open, you need to be working on your skills, your mindset, your habits. You need to be building your character and strengthening your faith. God's not just waiting for the right moment to bless you. He's waiting for you to be ready to handle that blessing when it comes. I think of it like training for a big game. You don't show up on the field the day of the championship without practicing for months, right? You don't become a top performer without putting in the work. And it's the same with your dreams. The waiting period is your time to train to get ready for the life that's coming your way. This is the part of the journey where you do the heavy lifting. It's not glamorous. It's not always fun. And sometimes it can feel like nobody sees the work you're putting in. But trust me, the work matters. When I was in my lowest moments, when I didn't know where the next opportunity was coming from, when I felt like nothing was happening for me, that's when I learned to work in the waiting. That's when I learned to do the little things like perfecting my craft, reading books to expand my mind, practicing my patience. Because I knew one thing, I didn't want to waste a single moment waiting for the door to open. I wanted to be ready when it did. This is where a lot of people mess up. They think waiting means doing nothing. But the truth is, waiting is a time for building, for learning, for growing. You don't wait until the door opens to start preparing for what's behind it. You prepare right now, so when that door swings wide, you walk through it with confidence, knowing you've earned it. If you don't work in the waiting, you'll miss the opportunity that comes when the door finally opens. The blessing won't have room to land in your life because you weren't ready for it. So keep putting in the effort. Even when you don't see results right away, keep working. Keep sharpening your skills, building your spirit, and improving your mindset. That's how you prepare for what's coming next. Remember, the waiting room is not a place for inactivity, it's a place for growth. And when your time comes, you'll be more than ready for the life that's about to unfold in front of you. Learn from the slow seasons. Growth happens in the quiet moments. Now listen to me, family. I know you don't like to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Not every season of your life is going to be fast, and not every season is going to be fun. Sometimes life slows down. Things aren't moving as quickly as you want, and the progress feels non-existent. But let me tell you, those are the seasons that teach you the most. We all want that quick success, right? We want the instant win, the overnight breakthrough. But here's the thing, you're never going to learn the lessons that shape you in the fast season. That's when things are easy, when everything is clicking. But when life slows down, that's when the real work is happening on you. Think about it like this. A seed doesn't grow into a tree in a week. It takes time, patience, and the right conditions to break through the soil and start reaching for the sky. And that's exactly how your life works. The slow seasons are when you're being prepared, when you're growing deep roots that will hold you up when the wind tries to knock you down. It's tough when you're in it. I know you look around and everyone else seems to be moving ahead, achieving their dreams, hitting their goals, and you're stuck in the same spot. But don't mistake the slow season for a wasted season. I promise you it's not. In fact, it might be the most important part of your journey. I've had plenty of slow seasons in my life, seasons where I felt like nothing was happening, nothing was changing, and I wasn't making any progress. I remember times when I was struggling, barely making ends meet, not knowing if I was ever going to get where I wanted to go. But it was in those quiet, slow moments that I learned to trust the process. Those seasons taught me to be patient, to stay committed, and most importantly, to keep going even when it felt like nothing was moving. You can't rush growth. You can't rush the process, and you can't skip the slow seasons, because if you do, you'll miss the lesson. In those moments, you learn resilience, you learn patience, you learn how to keep the faith when everything seems still. So when things aren't moving fast enough, don't get discouraged. Don't start thinking that maybe you're not good enough or that it's just not meant to be. Take a step back and ask yourself, what is this season teaching me? What is God trying to prepare me for? What do I need to learn in this moment? In the slow seasons, you'll learn what you're really made of. You'll find out how strong your faith is, how deep your determination runs, and how badly you really want this. It's easy to keep going when everything's going your way. But when things slow down, when the struggle sets in, that's where you find out what you're really capable of. So family, when the seasons feel slow, don't rush them. Don't push them away. Lean into them. Let them teach you what you need to know. Because when the fast seasons come, and trust me, you'll be ready to handle everything that comes with them. Celebrate your small wins. Big victories start with little steps. Family, let me tell you something that's going to change the way you see your journey. Your small wins matter. I know we get caught up in looking for the big, flashy victories, the ones that everybody can see, the ones that make you feel like you've truly arrived. But let me tell you, if you're not celebrating your small wins, you're missing out on something powerful. You see, life doesn't always hand us the big wins on a silver platter. Most of the time, it's those little victories that add up to something much bigger. And we're so quick to overlook them because we're waiting for the big moment. But let me be real with you. If you don't stop to appreciate those small steps, you might just miss the journey altogether. I know it can feel frustrating. You've been working hard, putting in the effort, but the big breakthrough hasn't happened yet. But guess what? If you take a moment to look around, you'll see that you've already made progress. Maybe you've learned a new skill. Maybe you've got a little more knowledge under your belt. Maybe you've just gotten through a tough day when you didn't think you could. These are wins. These are signs that you're moving forward. And that's something to be celebrated. Let me tell you, I've been there feeling like I wasn't getting anywhere. Feeling like all the work I was putting in wasn't amounting to anything. I remember working on my dreams day in and day out, but feeling like nobody saw the grind, the struggle, the effort. But then I realized something, I was seeing it. And that was enough. You have to learn to celebrate yourself when nobody else does. Celebrate the little steps, the growth, the progress. Because every single small win is building a foundation for the bigger things that are coming your way. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand the desire to hit that big jackpot, the dream job, the big promotion, the massive following. But listen, all those things are a result of the small wins that came before. It's the early mornings, the late nights, the conversations you had that got you closer to your goal. It's that one yes when you were used to hearing no. It's the days you didn't feel like showing up but did anyway. You have to honor those moments. You have to give yourself credit for what you've already achieved, even if it doesn't look as grand as you imagine. The small wins, they add up to something major. Trust me on that. And let me tell you something from the heart, this isn't just about your career, your business, or your finances. This is about your life. Celebrate the times you took care of yourself. Celebrate when you made it through a tougher situation stronger than before. Celebrate that you didn't give up when life got hard. Celebrate every little part of you that's growing, evolving, and getting better. Because if you don't learn to honor the small wins, you'll miss the beauty of your journey. When you celebrate those moments, you're saying, I see the progress, I acknowledge the effort, and I'm proud of how far I've come. So today, family, I challenge you to stop and reflect on all the small wins you've had. You made it through tough times. You learned something new. You got up when you felt like staying down. That's success too. Celebrate it. Don't wait for someone else to tell you you're doing great. Tell yourself you're doing better than you think. Keep stacking those small wins, because before you know it, you'll look back and realize they added up to a victory bigger than ever imagined. Your time will come. Trust the process. Stay ready for your moment. Listen to me, family. One thing I need you to understand today is that your time is coming, and when it does, it's going to be right on time. We've all been there, feeling like we're stuck in a holding pattern, watching the world move ahead while we're still waiting for our big break. You look around and everyone else seems to be getting what you want, hitting the milestones, living the life you dreamed of. And you start wondering, why not me? Why haven't I reached my moment yet? But let me tell you something, just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't happen. Your time will come. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care how long you've been waiting. Your time is coming, and when it arrives, it's going to be worth the wait. Now, here's the thing. While you're waiting for your moment, you can't sit back and just hope it shows up. You've got to prepare for it. You've got to keep working, keep striving, keep building yourself up. Because when that door opens, you need to be ready to walk through it like you've been expecting it all along. Your time will come, but only if you stay ready for it. I get it. I've been in that waiting room. I've sat there thinking, when is it going to be my turn? I've worked hard, stayed focused, put in the hours, and sometimes it felt like nothing was happening. But here's the truth. Everything you're doing now is laying the groundwork for what's to come. All that hustle, all that sacrifice, all that faith you've been pouring in, it's all building up to that one moment when everything you've worked for is going to pay off. And trust me when I say this, it will be worth the wait. Every tear, every disappointment, every sleepless night, it all makes sense when your time finally arrives. I don't think for a second that your waiting is in vain. Sometimes you've got to go through the seasons of preparation, the tough moments before you get to the good stuff. But here's the key, family, don't rush it. Don't get desperate. Don't get discouraged. Because the moment you're waiting for will arrive in its own time, and when it does, it will be better than you ever imagined. Your time isn't just about luck. It's about the work you've been putting in, the lessons you've been learning, and the person you're becoming while you wait. So don't let the process fool you. Your time isn't anyone else's time. It's not about comparing your journey to someone else's. Your moment is unique to you, and it will come in the right moment at the right time, and it will feel like everything was perfectly aligned just for you. But here's the most important thing I want you to understand. Stay faithful in the waiting. Keep doing the work, keep believing, and don't lose sight of who you are and what you're capable of. Your time will come, And when it does, it will blow your mind. Stay ready for it. Stay committed to the process because your moment is coming. And when it does, it's going to be everything you've worked for and more. I promise you, when your moment arrives, it will feel like everything makes sense. The struggles, the waiting, the tears, it all clicks. You'll look back and realize the timing was perfect because it was yours. So let me leave you with this. Stop worrying about how fast someone else's clock is ticking. Yours is set to the exact pace it needs to be. Stay faithful, stay ready, and wait for your time, because when it comes, baby, it's going to shine brighter than you ever imagined. Your clock is ticking. It might not be loud yet, but trust me, it's moving. Keep going. Your time is coming.